Hey, Vivian here. I came back from Lycoris 2015 last night, but because I've been traveling literally the entire day and I barely got any sleep. I actually hadn't sleep at all for I did nap on the plane and a little bit at the hotel room, but they don't really count. So I was literally up all day, and so when I came back here from the play and dinner, it was literally 11:30. So, and I couldn't do shit after that. So I just crashed in bed, and I spent today, visiting parks. So it's more take it easy kind of day. And now I finally get to sit down and tell you all the things that happened last night. And where do I start? I'll just go very briefly, I guess, about the play in general. Last year, Annie and I did a scene by scene review, but that was because nobody knows what the play is gonna be like at all. So, but this year, since I assume that you have at least seen Lycoris 2014 to a certain extent, with or without subs, so I'm just gonna go very quickly through the major changes that occurred in these scenes. So I'm actually looking at the song list now, so it's easier for me to bring back my memory. So the opening, since they got rid of the chess pieces, Seal's cage is basically in the center of the stage, and last year they had to have a shorter dancer, Miku-chan. She has to play this faceless seal on the top, because the real seal has to appear onto the stage in literally 2 seconds after the faceless seal inside the cage disappears. So you need to have someone stand in for him, but this time it's a shadow play, so it doesn't. He still can be in the cage, and then they cover the cage, lift it, and then there's a shadow showing Seal inside the cage, and then he comes back up later as himself. So all 10 dancers are on the stage as participants of the mysterious dark party. And and then Sebastian shows up and he does his opening song, which is very much the same as the 2014 version, but Seal's part, literally every song that Seal has to participate in had been rearranged to a deeper tone, because Nayuta, whatever you think his voice has changed into, is a different voice that he's using. Last year, he's very much his what Nami and it was called baby voice. So this year is definitely a dude voice. So yeah, that part, his parts has been rearranged, but it was very much similar to last year. But moving on to the Phantomhive Manor scene, the servants, they get a little dance number. It's not a new song, it's a little dance number where they basically they just do really silly dances, and it's fun because they kind of want to let Sebastian to join them, but Sebastian was nope. And then he sits, he watches them from the sofa for a while, and then he gets reluctantly pulled into the silly circle. But it's all very entertaining. It's just pure fun. And we know Finian and Bar from last year, our new Meilin Shi-chan, she's very good as well. Her voice is really similar to the anime voice, but I mean, I couldn't say I remember what the anime Meilin sounds like. She was barely there, but she's a very good Meilin. As so was Terasaki Yuka-chan from last year. They were both really, really good Meilin. And then Double Charles appears, and then they get to do their song, and then they get to do the fight with the servants. The fight between Charles and Meilin, and no, Charles Gray and Meilin, and between him and Bart, it becomes I think it got longer, and then it has more intense moves. I'm not an expert in action scenes, but it feels more. They actually definitely put in more work in that regard. And then they also had their Matrix moment, the slow motion parts as well, when they did the song. And then Double Charles delivers the letter to Seal, and then they also get like, because you know before, like we know that there are like no new songs, but I think if you have to find like a new song, this would be it. Is when Double Charles delivers the letter to Seal, and then Double Charles kind of sings out the Jack the Ripper events, because they have to introduce, like they have to tell him what the letter is about and what the case he has to investigate, you know, is about. And so they actually have like this tiny little segment of singing, where they sing out the events of the Jack the Ripper murders. It's like this tiny little song where they each sing like 2 sentences, and then that was it. But it was like, I don't know if they count that as a new song or they make it like part of Don't Resist It. They might actually count that as a new song, but I could barely remember what the rhythm was, because it was like so short, and they were like just talking, like very much like talking, to be honest. But it was like really nice because we get to hear Double Charles sing, and you definitely want more of that. And then they move, and then there's Aberlon and Hanks, you know, do their funny shit. It's always very entertaining. Like I once told a friend on Twitter, a Japanese fan, and I told him that like I don't understand most of the jokes Aberhan does, but I feel fun. Like I just feel entertained. I think that's like the magic of comedy, because like it crosses borders, and it crosses language barrier. It's just overall very fun. It's like I always look forward to seeing them on stage, and they never disappoint. And then and so Seal and Sebastian moved on to their townhouse, and then they meet, you know, the 3. Madame, Lau, and Grell, and then they do Corroborators of Investigation. This song has been rearranged so that when Madame and Lau are introduced, they each have 2 backup dancers to come up to assist their introduction. You know, about Madame, you know, being this very sociable woman, and you know she has a lot of admirers, and then Lau being this mysterious Asian guy, and then they're like 2 girls, you know, of the Chinese variety. I don't know the way they dress, so they come out and like dance with Loud a little bit. So I think last night Annie and I, we were like sitting right below the speaker, and we're like the sounds a bit like banged up on our face, so we couldn't get some of the high notes and like the details of the songs a lot, because like it's just so loud, you know, we lose some of the details in the process. So, but I just had a feeling that overall the songs are like harder to sing now. Like, well, maybe it's because I'm so familiar with the 2014 version. I can basically sing every song, and I know the rhythm and everything. And then they rearrange it, and it just feels hard to sing. Like because I remember that in Corroborators of Investigation, like Madame wasn't hitting that many high notes or something, but like I think she hit a couple new heights in this song in particular. And sorry, I'm just and then they go see Undertaker. Before Undertaker, you know, Madame grabs Sebastian's butt. Like Madame and Sebastian, they get a lot more physical in this play. Like overall, like Madame just constantly gets close to Sebastian, and this time, because last year Madame just walks up to Sebastian and like puts her hand on his butt, but like this time Madame's like, she stands behind Sebastian and she kind of touches him from like shoulder down, and there's your ass, you know. And Sebastian was not as overreacting as last year. He simply kind of just that's like instant shock, and then that was kind of it. And in Undertaker's place, they put the set forward a lot. Well, it's basically just the curtain. Like they move the curtain all the way to the front of the stage. So and Undertaker's coffin was at the side. So like everyone was like very much at the front compared to last year. And then, you know, they Undertaker also had his, you know, improvised jokes as well. And then the carriage scene, because they got rid of the chess pieces. So there's like, and then they also got rid of the shaking, except Grow. Like, Grow's the only one who's shaking at the front, like to remind you that this is a moving carriage. And then like everyone else was like static, just sitting there. But when they get to the part where the carriage loses control, then everyone starts shaking like violently. And I think I also saw that on Twitter, but like I also feel like that happened, is that when Sebastian leaves the carriage, he kind of does like this phoenix pose and he jumps off. But that was like a split second, so you know, you can interpret that whichever way you want, I guess. And then we move on to the root. You know, I'm the embodiment of beauty. So it's definitely like the song is largely the same, and he kept the most popular parts of that song. If you know what I mean. It's just because like the stage overall is bigger, and you know they have a stair that comes down from like the back and center of the stage. It's just overall like upgraded dance. Like I'm not extra. I don't know how to explain that, but and then the party begins, and then there was like there were a lot of movable parts in this set. So when the party begins, I think they moved like some pillars. Like they're trying to create like different areas on that particular stage. Because last year the chess pieces, they could really mark out like the edge of the space and then like cover the people, like the actors, when they have to leave the stage or something. But like this time they really have a lot of movable components where they split the stage into different segment, like different area, different spaces. And then they actually have like a very decent second floor, where a lot of the actors would also, you know, act on there. Because last year it was just like double Charles. They just walk up to a chess piece, but this time they could like walk up to like a second floor, and then they could talk from there. And yeah, and then the party begins, you know, the usual, you know, Seal comes out in a dress and like really pissed. And then and this is the part where Fifth just completely loses it. Like, Fifth is so funny. He just, like last year he could just watch Seal from afar. And then he was like, like the lace, and then it was like, but like he couldn't really approach Seal. And this time he just chases them around and around and around, just wants to take a better look at the dress. And he's just such a nerd, such a dork. It's adorable. And you know, and then Truth, and when he wants to get close to Seal, because you have all these other dancers blocking him, like every time he wants to get close to Seal, then this guy, like this random person's dancing would just hits Drew on the face, and then like this, and then when their legs just hits Drew on the face. So it took a bit effort for Drew to like actually get physically close to Seal, and it was all really funny. And then, you know, and then they do the secret party part. That was very much the same as last year, but Sebastian did not carry Seal off the stage. He walked. Yeah, he just walked off stage. I guess for various reasons, you know, since Nayuta did grow significantly taller than last year. Yeah, and then they're back to the house with Madam. The general things about the scene was the same. And then when Madam does her solo, you remember like last year I keep telling you that I really like the part where Gro stands up on the chess piece to look down at Madam, and this time because they have like a proper second floor now, Gro actually stays there a lot longer, and then he does this like glass push. Like Gro does, there are two places where Grau did that glass push, I thought was really significant, because I did like so many metal analysis on 2014 version, so now I remember all these little details. So like basically in Madam's solo, Grau does a little glass push, and back in Corporators of Investigation, where there's a part where Madam stands up and moves to the center seat of the table, and then Grau kind of just, pulls out the chair and then stands behind her. In 2014, he was just like, kind of tilts his head and then look from the side. But this time, he actually kind of leans on the chair and pushes up his glasses. It's like that moment of seriousness. Yeah, and then she does her solo, and then just everything just went on like last year. And then everybody comes out and do I'll Be Your Pawn and Sword, I couldn't enjoy that song fully because like the speaker was like right above my head, so like everything sounded like an explosion to me. I could barely get, because I really like I'll Be Your Pawn and Sword. I like the fact that everyone gets to sing together at the same time with their voice overlapping each other, but that speaker was like right over there, and everything just banged on my forehead. So hopefully that when I move on to another seat, and they probably should think about toning it down a little bit next time. Hopefully I could get to enjoy that song a little more, but overall it was really good. And that's Act 1 for you. And Act 2 opens with the interrogation, and that was a really funny part, as with every Aberhan scene. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then we have Jack the Ripper, Lau's solo. This song was rearranged too, so it sounds less like last time. It feels like a disco kind of the kind of song you would do at disco. It's like it's scary, but it's also kind of like cheerful in a sense, because Lau is doing it. This time it just feels overall more serious. Like Lau is more serious, and then like the London residents, they're just like freak out all the time. So they're saying like there was a lot of emphasis on them yelling Jack the Ripper, So yeah, so just overall, like it's not just the song, like overall this musical just feels darker and more serious, and the atmosphere that they're creating. Oh, and then of course when Lau leaves the stage, you have Sebastian and Seal coming up, and then Sebastian meets this mysterious black beauty from and then he picks up the cat, and I remember last year Sebastian was just standing there, and this time like he actually moves down, he kneels down and he picks up the cat, and it's just all I will get to Furukawa Yuta's orgasm voice later, but that part was really good. And then they expose Grell when he comes out of the alleyway. Last time he just falls out from behind the chess piece, but this time, like under their second floor, there's also, I think it was specific for that scene. There was also this little door which symbolizes where the final murder took place. And the stand-in for Grell, for the dark hair Grell, kind of just acts it out behind the pillar right outside the door, and then and the light goes out, and then this red hair Grell. It's very much the same. It just happens in a different set, so it feels more realistic. Like you can actually see that house at the end of the alleyway. And then Grell does Grell's solo, and it's a very different song, or I should say a very different dance. They basically let Takun sing as little as possible, I think, because the dance was really intense. So there's definitely that in consider. They definitely put that into consideration, because the dance was really, really, really intense. They're just It was incredible. Like, I can't describe shit, but the dance was like really incredible. But he barely sang. Like, yeah, I think like 2/3 of the song was like cut off, and he just like sang the most important parts, but that was kind of it. But the dance was really intense. Like, that's my point. and then they do the whole Madame Seal showdown, and then Sebastian and Girl do their fight, and then Girl kills Madame, and then Madame's memory comes out, and this time the projection, because there are a lot of movable parts in this musical, so there are like 2 bigger pieces of like just walls that are used for projection. Sorry. So instead of like those classroom projection that comes down that you can lift up, and this time they're like 2 pieces like stone walls that are put together. They used one for like Sebastian, like the first time he got cut by the chainsaw, there was like a small piece that let Sebastian project his memory on it, but like for Madame and the second time Sebastian's memories were seen, like for those 2, it was 2 pieces put together, and then they project Madame's memory on it, and of course Vincent is voiced by the voice actor from the anime, so it's a more attractive voice than last year, like, with all due respect, but that is Vincent's actual voice, and it's just like everything just goes together so well. And then and then the projection, like the shadow play, it's more detailed than last year in a sense that you can, like last year, like Madame's shadow was just like her silhouette, but this time I think you can actually see the details in her clothes, and the like the smaller part, so it's not exactly like a shadow, just plain shadow. It's not a plain shadow. And then Madame finishes her song. Madame's song is always incredible. Like, no matter how many times you see it, it's just really good. And then Sebastian and Girl continue their fight, and then they do the whole Romeo and Juliet song. And this time, they have this piece that actually rotates 360 degrees. And so Girl and Sebastian were like fighting on that piece as it rotates, and they go up from the stair from one side, but they come down the other side because the stairwell had to be moved to the other side. It's a very dynamic scene because like everything was moving, and the song changed in a sense that Girl's the second half, because like. Basically, Romeo and Juliet is more like a Girl solo with a like tiny segment of Sebastian in it, but like the later half, like after Sebastian sings the later half of the song where Girl has to sing alone, that part was slowed down a lot. It's more like Girl is just having a moment up there singing slowly to Sebastian. Like, I don't know, it feels like an I don't know the right words for it. It's like very Japanesey description. It feels so like idol. It's like it's just having a moment up there as Juliet, and then it just sings to Sebastian about it's such an intense night. Like the lyrics are same. They just slow it down. They're just taking their time this time around, and then when Sebastian gets cut a second time, his memories were projected onto the pieces where they did Madame's memories, and they actually filmed the characters, like the actors, talking, because like the memories are of course from Sebastian's own perspective. So you basically see these actors, these characters talking to the camera, like right in front of Sebastian, talking to Sebastian. You have like basically every character except, William. Like basically everyone showed up in that cinematic record that they projected onto, like after Sebastian gets cut. But of course, like Seal's words were the most vital. So it comes out in the end, and then you of course have the servants coming out and screw things up, and then was deeply unsatisfied, and they had their final fight where Sebastian beats Grow up and picks up the chainsaw and just marching forward, and there's like light, like just lighting, like there's just lighting shows that something very important or very sharp hits the chainsaw, and Sebastian couldn't continue, and then the stage kind of opens up, and you see William standing there, like at the very, very, very end of the stairway. Yeah, because like last year, they have to, like, Grow and Sebastian have to physically move up so William can, like, so William's depth size could reach to stop the chainsaw. This time they just completely gave up the idea of doing that and just like let lighting do the job. And then William shows up at the very end and he walks down the stairs. Let me have a shipper's moment here. And it's really cute here because when Grow sees William, she just waves. Like there are a lot of places doing this, like when William's on stage, a lot like Grow does so many like reaching out, you know, like little waves and little like whiny painful noises when, you know, William's talking. It feels like a response to what William's doing, and, you know, constantly trying to like seek his attention and his, well, protection in a sense as well. It was really cute, and Grow was definitely really excited to see William there, you know, although it's not the same reversely. And William, Teluma's singing improved so much. Like, I already like his singing, as you all know. I'm such Teluma trash. And his singing got so much better. Well, he did play Hichikata Toshizo from Bakumatsu Luck twice in between he played William. And then he did a lot of other plays in between too, but, you know, William can sing so much better now. And then the song just, and then he also, like last year, he's backup dancers dancing, but he was just like walking around like William. But this time he also has some small gestures that to align with the song and the actors. So he has a little dance moves here and there, but it was all very minimal. So he's pretty straight up overall, like last year. And then yeah, Telema just so good. Just let me have a moment here. And then when William picks Grow up, like Grow actually like aggressively tries to reach out for the other way, but of course it failed, and he was like waving to Sebastian, see you tomorrow, and then he gets pulled off stage, and then we move on to Madame's funeral, and this time because they and then they put up that that movable part in their set, just another movable part. And then they put the coffin up there, so you have to like move up the stairs to reach that coffin. And yeah, that scene was just so beautiful. And, you know, even if Naito's voice changed, you know, to have it's just still very tear-jerking, like that scene overall. And then they move on to the final part where Seo and Sebastian talk to each other alone. Oh god, that part was really funny in a sense that I was trying to control my cough because like I'm still recovering from a cold from like a week ago, so my throat gets itchy from time to time. And when Sebastian and Seo were like talking, and because like there's no music, so then they're just talking, and then there are like a lot of moments of silence, and then the entire theater like not a sound. So I was just like, I don't want to cough like during this time. Like these two people are having a conversation, so I'm just like begging them to like start singing. And then the moment the music started, I just went, and it was like I think Annie broke into like a small laughter because I was trying really hard to not cough during the important moment, but you know, But that was the scene-to-scene review for you there, and I'm gonna do a character-by-character review in the next video.